What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Molloy Twins podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I want to give a quick shout out to a close friend and sponsor of ours, Goal Barber. Goal Barber is a locally owned and ran independent barbershop that specializes in male and kids groomings. Whether you need a fresh fade, you want to try out a different style, you want to get the beard shaped up, or you just want somewhere to bring the kids, get them looking clean and proper, and get the job done and in and out without too much hassle, Goal Barber is the place for you. And it's a perfect spot to head in to get freshened up for the upcoming Christmas nights out and all the festivities that lie ahead over the next few weeks. So check them out on Instagram at Goal Barber, where you can go through the link in their bio to book in your own haircut and get yourself sorted out. And if you do go in, make sure to tell them the Molloy Twins sent you. Welcome back to the podcast, and today you are in for a treat. We're joined by Saifa, and Saifa is one of those people who, you ever hear those people and they tell you their life story, growing up, what they're doing, the ups and downs, and you just think to yourself, your life could definitely be a book or a movie or something like that in the future. Well, Saifa is one of those people. So she's the owner and founder of a business that you're probably familiar with if you're on social media. They're called the Drunken Cookie. It's a really cool business. They basically create these mad cookies with all these crazy combinations of stuff, and you can get them as a subscription. So each month you get them shipped to your house. So you get to enjoy these crazy cookies from the comfort of your own home. But her story is even more incredible than that. And she talks really openly throughout the whole episode, holding nothing back, pulling no punches about growing up, what she was like, her struggles with addiction, how she found the baking and the cookie world, let's call it, as a way to channel her energy into something more positive. She speaks about going to rehab, going through that process, how she keeps herself on the straight and narrow today, building the business, all the cool and crazy ideas she's got for the future and everything else. It was one of those conversations that I think we stopped about 40 minutes in, and I generally felt I could go another 4 hours talking to her, right? She's really cool. You're going to enjoy a lot and get a ton of value. You can find the business at The Drunken Cookie on Instagram, so check them out. And I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. Before we go, quick shout, please, if you haven't yet, do us a quick favor and just hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. It really helps us out a lot. All right, let's go to the episode, and I hope you enjoy it. By all accounts, at least from the outside looking in, it seems like you have the dream job, to be surrounded by cookies and to have access to cookies whenever you want. One thing I do want to know from you is, even though it may look like, a life of perfection, let's say on one side of the coin, I'm sure there's tons of stuff behind the scenes that we don't get to see that makes it super hard and stressful. So what would you say is the most difficult or challenging part of what you do that nobody else really gets to see?
Oh, Jesus, Adam, to be honest, it's the fact that I'm working 24/7. It's the fact that when I come home from whether I'm in the kitchen, whether I'm even working in my living room, I'm still working even when my laptop closes. I need to be ready at any time. And that stresses me out. And that's been going on for 3.5 years now. And I think also it's the loneliness. And it's something I'm really struggling with at the moment. I don't get to go into an office and have banter with my colleagues and, clock off at 5 o'clock and I don't give a really bollocks about what happens for the rest of the day. Yeah. I obviously have to maintain some form of professionalism with my staff and my team. So I really struggle with that, to be honest. It's really lonely and I'm consistently working.
Yeah, there's no off switch. There's no right finish now. It's just jumping from one thing to the next and always being ready to go.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Well, look, you mentioned there it's been the last 3.5 years of living this lifestyle, the entrepreneur, the hustle, the grind, all the rest. I want to go back a little bit beyond that. And if you don't mind me asking, Saifa, what age are you now?
27.
27, cool. If I say met Saifa as a 15 or 16-year-old, what kind of young girl would I be seeing? What kind of person was she?
Scumbag.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that.
I had Rihanna red hair. I had a cut across my eyebrow. I still had my tongue piercing. I was a little scumbag. I'd be rocking around Adidas tracksuits, drinking cans of Druids, dirtbird behaviour. I was disgusting. I was getting bullied. I was a bully. I was running around, getting into fights. I was a fighter. I broke someone's wrist. I was deplorable. My God, she was unwell. She was unwell. But underneath all of that, she's scared. She was so scared.
I hear you. I hear you. And then moving on from that, let's say into your early 20s, it seems like now, obviously, you're not the same person that you were back then. What was kind of like maybe you are, I don't know, maybe you're just putting that on for camera, only lesson. But what was the turning point? Like, when did things kind of come to a head when you decided to shift gears on it?
Change. I think I really, really started doing the work um when I entered recovery. And now that's going back 2 years actually. So I think I still had the potential to be unintentionally a nasty person,
Mm.
but that's just through addiction. So I'm in recovery, and I never really thought I had a drinking problem until I reached like a rock bottom. I had several rock bottoms,
Yeah, yeah.
but entering into rehab at like, I think it was 24, 25, I kind of had to look myself in the mirror and think, okay, there's not many people my age that are going to rehab. And I think going through a 12-step program, which is within AA, had helped me look at myself, my behaviors of the past, and also a lot of therapy. Like I've been in and out of therapy since I was like 12. So being sober alongside a 12-step program and being in therapy has just, I'm a whole new person, I'd like to think, to what I was a couple of years ago.
You mentioned, I was going to ask what was the addiction, if you didn't mind sharing, but it sounded like it was alcohol, was it?
So alcohol was my primary, and then there was a bit of cocaine. And when I say a bit, there was a lot of cocaine.
Yeah.
And actually, sex and love addiction was a part of it as well. So it was those three that I was attending meetings for mainly, but it's all under the same 12
Yeah, yeah.
steps, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. You all run through the same. That's so interesting. And you mentioned that was a couple of years ago that you went into rehab initially. And I think you said at the start you've been running the business 3 and a bit years or so. So at the start of running the business, this was still going on too.
Yeah. So basically, one of my rock bottoms was I was in the grips of all three addictions. Um, Boyfriend broke up. I lost my job because of my alcoholism. And it wasn't that cute. Like I drank too much. Like I was trying to fuck the boss's
Well,
son. Like I was running around town like a headless chicken during COVID. My mom was like crying, bawling her eyes out. Like Saifa's literally insane. I was in and out of hospital. It was disgusting. And when I had lost my job and lost a boyfriend at the time, I was literally like, I have nothing to live for. Like, I have no purpose at all. And like I said, I've had mental health issues my whole life with borderline personality disorder as well. It's extreme highs, extreme lows. So I went to the doctor. I was like, I really want to kill myself. And she was like, okay, this is what you need to do. Bump up the antidepressants. I didn't tell her about my drinking, but I was drinking. Bump up with the antidepressants. Game over. Suicidal. Went to hospital. Came out. What the hell am I going to do with myself? My brother was like, and I remember this is such a moment in my life where I was like, oh my God. My brother was like, you have to have something to live for. And I was so delusional and I had completely lost touch of reality. And I was just like, I'm going to start selling cookies. And then my authentic self was like really unwell. So I was just like very open on my social media about the names of the cookies, but it just worked. People liked that I was vulnerable and they identified with it as well. Like people, like I never really got the whole like hospitality, big faces, customers always right. Like I get that to a certain
yes, yeah,
extent,
yeah.
but behind it all, we're all just people. And I'm just a person trying to run a business. And every single day I'll say it like I am unwell. But my primary purpose is to make really good cookies, and I'll do my best to do that. So then the Drunken Cookie was born. And here we are today. So I entered recovery then about a year into the business, a year and a half into the business.
So I'm guessing this was the drunken cookie was not all right. Let me sit down, like go to Costa, get out a pen and paper, and do a big 10-year plan for what I want to be doing. This was more like, okay, I need something more to live for. Cookies are as good a reason as anything else I can think of to live for, and that was it.
Yeah, it literally was. It was a gift of desperation that like need to have something else in my life. And also though, like I've always wanted to open a cafe. Like that's why it was just something that was so close to my heart. Like in transition year, like my friends will always tell you, like Saifa always wanted to open a cafe. She always loved food. I remember I was selling cupcakes from my locker for €2 and stuff like that. Like it was always
Hustle.
something I loved. And food is like such a love language in my family. Like my mom and dad despise each other, but my mom will always like cook for him whenever he comes home. So it's like it's just like it's a sense of love, and I love feeding people. So this was just something that I just let's do it, let's go for it.
Let's get stuck in. Back when you were, because obviously running the Drunken Cookie, being a business owner is a whole world within itself. When you were 15, 16, 17, did you have any idea at that stage what you wanted to do with your life, what kind of careers or industries you wanted to get into?
I knew I wanted to own a cafe.
It's cafe the whole way through, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And did you have any attempts at that before the Drunken Cookie?
No, my initial thing was I want to save. I want to make sure I have enough money to do this. I was too afraid, you know? But the
Yeah, yeah.
reality was I just need to get a fucking loan, like just do it. Like and that like I said, that desperation of I have no other choice allowed me to make that jump.
What was the job you were doing then before getting into the Drunken? What industry was that in, or what space was it? You don't have to say the company.
I actually worked for a wine company. It really
Okay,
helped my addiction. I worked for
nice.
a wine company, but at the same time, I was a coach as well. So PT, group fitness.
Oh, so you have a background in fitness too. That's sick. So do I, so does Lee. So we're all semi-connected in that way. And how did you find mixing the PT world and coaching with the other stuff you had going on in life at that stage? I say you were born in the candles at all ends.
Exactly. And I think that's what fast tracked my seizures. Like I would be up all hours, drunken cookie, people loved, oh, drunken cookie. Like the amount of times, even when I was so small, I only had like 5,000 followers. I had people coming up to me like, you're drunken cookie. And then like, and I'm just like, oh yeah, like
Yeah.
party with me guys. And then I go in and coach a class with no sleep, ample amounts of pre-workout. Like my central nervous system was literally fried.
Live to tell the tale at least. So we got there in the end for now. For now, with the whole concept then for the Drunken Cookie, firstly the name. So I'm guessing the name has some roots in the fact that a lot of this stemmed from the alcohol addiction, and you are the Drunken Cookie in some sense.
Exactly. Exactly. Like it was cute for a while. Like, where'd
Yeah,
the
yeah.
name come from? I'm like, I'm the drunken cookie. And now it's like, I'm in recovery.
Yeah. The sober cookie now.
Yeah.
And one thing that has always come like your social media has always caught our eye, especially since we start posting podcasts and stuff, because you see a lot of businesses and especially the likes of food trucks, especially since COVID. I think that whole scene kind of blew up and went in different directions. But your one always stood out from the rest of the pack for a couple of reasons. One is just good reason, well, positive reasons. One is just how authentic and real you are on social media. A lot of people will say, I keep it real. I don't bullshit. I don't hide anything on social media. A lot of people say it, very few actually live it and do it. And you could log onto your page at any given day and it's like, I'm not feeling great today. I'm struggling with this today. This is going good. This is shit. I hate running this bit. Like you just say it as it is there and then, and it's so cool. But the second thing has been the actual cookies themselves and the names you put on them. Like some of them are very un-PG. It's just like you, and it's so authentic and so real. And I love how everything is just so on brand for you as a personality. It's like it sets the tone for everything that happens.
Thank you so much. Oh, but I think that's what made it work though, It's that like people love to relate. People love identification. People love to fit in. And I even see on social media now with other business owners, like it looks like everyone's thriving. Looks like everyone's making millions. And here I am barely staying afloat. Like, do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's like I just trying to be that person I'd like to see on social media. Is that it's not easy. It's not fun. It's not cute. It's not like this glamorous life. Like you look at me, I swear to God, you look at me, I have the apartment, the car, I'm in Dubai. But I swear to God, Adam, like some days I do not want to get out of bed. I do not want to face the world. I do not want to go to meetings. I do not want to like I have a firm grip on my recovery, but of course I have fleeting thoughts where I'm just like, I'd love a drink, and I glamorize a relapse. I think, oh, it's a beach club with the glass of Moe. But the reality is, I'll fucking end up homeless like that. All this gone. Because I didn't drink like a normal person. I didn't behave like a normal person. So, I do have dark days, and I think it's important to show that, because honestly, social media is so unhealthy. It's so unhealthy, and comparison is the thief of joy. So I really try to be that presence that I'd like to see.
Did you have anyone as you were starting the business that you looked up to as like a role model in the business world or just in general?
At the time, to be honest, I saw this guy in the UK, and his company's called Get Baked. I think the owner is
Okay.
Rich Morris, and he was just like, I make good shit, like, and that's it. And I always just followed his content, and I loved it. And unconsciously, I think I just created my own twist on it.
Yes. Beautiful. I love that. I wanted to ask about the moment, that tipping point of saying, right, I need to get help with this addiction, get into rehab, that sort of thing. I'm always curious, like, was that a decision that, to put it bluntly, you made, or was it made for you? Was it you saying, I want to go and get this, or was it everyone around you basically like, you need to go and do this, and kind of forcing you almost?
So went to my first AA meeting in the pandemic. So I think it was about 2018, 2019. And I was not doing that for me. I was doing that for other people around me. And that's when I had my first kind of breaking point. And I initially was like, this is not for me. Like, I'm just going to try raw dog it and just try stop drinking by myself. Obviously, that was unsuccessful. Then in 2023, I believe, at the start of the year, I started getting seizures, as I'd said, and I had a lot of people that were close to me very upset, very scared, but unfortunately that didn't stop me. The addiction just manifested and kept on going, and I kept getting seizures. And the insanity of it all was that, like, I'd leave hospital and be like, okay, when can I drink again? Do you know, like, there was no stopping me. Until, like, I think the October 2022 it was. Sorry. Oh yeah, October 2022. I was in with my neurologist for the seizures, getting scans done and stuff, and he was like, if you don't stop, you're going to die. And that's really hard to hear. Like, and I told him I can't stop. I've tried stopping so many times, and I couldn't do it. And he said, have you thought of rehab? And in my head, I was like, I am not that bad that I need to be going to rehab. But then I was like, what is the alternative here? I literally cannot stop. All I thought about, Adam, was drinking. Every waking moment was like, how can I get out of myself? If it wasn't drinking, I was hungover. If I wasn't hungover, I was working. And it was those three things just to get out of myself. And when I got to rehab, we sat down and we had group therapy, and it was in group therapy, in treatment, that I was like, I'm exactly like every single person in this room. And that was the moment I was like, I am fucked. Because right until going into rehab, I was like, I don't really need to be here. I'm not really
It's
that
not
bad.
that bad.
But everyone around me was supporting that decision. So I think that also is evident that, like, it wasn't looking good for me. Like,
That must have been that moment of realization, sitting in that room like, fuck.
it was super scary. It was really like, oh my God, how has this happened? What? Yeah, it was surreal.
Again, just curious, like, with alcohol, was it something that when you started drinking, whatever age that was, straight away, did it feel like an addiction, or did you have a period where it felt like I could manage it, and then at some point it just kind of took a life of its own?
So I definitely always drank alcoholically. And the reason I say that was, so my mom and dad were immigrants, and moving into Ireland, they weren't so fond of like the culture. So for me,
Right.
it
Yeah.
was go to school, don't talk to boys, get good grades, don't drink, don't do drugs. And if you did something outside of that, it wouldn't look pretty at home. And I'd seen it with my brother and sister who were out drinking, getting caught, and, you know, there was abuse. It was scary. Fuck that. I just need to be really sneaky with this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And my classmates all were super aware of this, that like, because I was like self-harming from like 12. So they always kind of knew like Saifa's household's a little bit different. So when I would drink, no one else would be drinking because it'd be just like a normal Saturday going to the park with my friends. But it was for me that my mom and dad were away. I can drink. This is my only chance. I need to get it into me now. So there was so many instances I can think of where I was the only one drinking, and it was excused because Safa has strict parents. So like this is the only time that she can do that. And so I was always kind of drinking alone. And that breaks my heart to like say, because you think to a 15-year-old who's just with her group of friends and she has a nagging and she's drinking it straight because she can't mix it because she's afraid of it taking too long to get ingested into her bloodstream. The insanity, it's crazy. And even like smoking joints, like I just did anything I could when no one else was doing it. I had one or two friends that were like kind of, they got on the journey with me, but they were able to stop. They were able to say no. I was never able to say no. I always drank to black out. I always drank to the point of me getting sick. It was never just a couple of drinks. Even when I go to the bar, I get a few shots because I wanted to get drunk quickly as soon as possible. And then I go back to the table and be drinking on my pink gin. That's not normal.
I hear you. I hear you. And talk to me now, like in terms of the recovery, being sober. How long has it been since you've had a drink?
On the 1st of December, it'll be 2 years.
Away.
Yeah.
Unreal. Congrats. Yeah.
But that's one day at a time, man. I have to keep it in the day because I never know when my head's gonna. You're normal. You're fine. Like, do you know what? That really scares me. Like coming up to 2 years, parts of me are like, maybe I can drink like a normal person. Maybe I can just have a glass of prosecco.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
But then the
Yeah.
reality is, what I comes back to me is that when I hang out with people that do drink, I watch everything. How long is it taking you to drink that glass of wine? Why are you taking so long to drink that glass of wine?
Just give it to
That
me, will you?
yeah. That thinking reminds me I'm not normal. And also, I much prefer to pretend to be an alcoholic and not drink than going out there and pretending I'm not.
Yeah.
Better that way.
I love it. I love it. And we've had thankfully, a few people on the podcast in a similar position who've come on and they all say the same thing. It's like, it's one day at a time. I'm not getting too far ahead of myself. 2 years is great, but it's not 2 years. It's like 2 days worth of 1 days.
Yeah, exactly. It's 24 hours. That's all I got.
Love it. And based on that, like running the business, obviously trying to manage all this stuff, is there anything that you have as part of your morning routine or just a daily routine, and you do specifically each day that kind of helps keep you on the right paths, get you out of a bad place, just helps keep you going?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because if I were to say that I do this 2 years ago to Saifa 2 years ago, she called me a fucking loser. But I swear to
Yeah,
God, this
that's
shit
growth.
works. I meditate, I journal, I do gratitude lists, and I pray to a higher power, which is like, it's hard to like say that out loud because a lot of people
I
are
get
like
you.
super judgmental, but without a higher power, I wouldn't be where I am today. So yeah, a lot of it is down to like faith.
I love it. Yeah, 100%. I hear you. And I'm all behind that. Especially, I think what gets you to a point of being open to getting help and support with that stuff is saying, I can't do this alone. Like I've tried, I need something more. I need something bigger, So
Yeah,
that
something
faith is
bigger
what
than
drives
me.
you. Big time, big time. Love it. I want to chat a little bit about the cookies again because I was just Googling there a couple of seconds ago, looking at some of the names because I always look at the names of the cookies when you do the next drop. This is the November cookie box, by the way. So by the time this goes out, you might still be able to get your hands on some, but December will probably be released too. But just like some of the names, right? So there's baked, simple. That's what it says in the tin. Rattled, fuck these gender norms. Vanilla, just like your sex life. BBC, big brownie cookie. And viral thing 2.0. It's like, I was just looking for the chocolate chip and I can't see it anywhere. Where do you come up with these names?
I'm not well, Adam. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it kind of comes to me quite easily, and I get asked that pretty frequently. Like, how do you come up with them? And it's like, it's actually just it just comes to me. It's all feelings and things that are so relevant to me. Like, okay, like I won't get into the story with BBC, but you know what I mean? Like, they're all pretty relevant, or something that I've experienced, and that are just funny, like, do you know what I mean? Nothing's that deep, like, and it's a play on words and it's authentic to who I am, so I like to just combine it all together.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And something else that I found really interesting with the cookie business you run is the kind of, let's call it the business model. We typically think, oh, cool, we just sell cookies like you back in the day, right? 2 quid a pop, get your cookie, happy days, whatever else. But you actually do it as, so you can get them at market stalls. So you guys are in the People's, or sorry, you're not in People's Park anymore. Is that right?
No, we're in People's Park. We used to be in Bushy Park, but just because the
Bush
weather.
Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, screwed out the weather. So there's
Yeah.
People's Park on a Sunday. There's St. Anne's. Are you in St. Anne's?
So markets change pretty like sporadically
Seasonally
just
enough,
because
yeah.
of seasonality, but we're consistently in People's Park on the Sunday at the moment.
Perfect. You can go up and just buy them there and then if you want. You can also do the monthly subscription, which each month there's a new drop. There's 6 cookies each month that get put into the box, and then you get a box delivered to you. That's really interesting because I haven't seen a lot of businesses, especially in that space, do that sort of thing. Where did that idea come from?
I had sepsis like 4 years ago,
Right.
and I was scrolling on Instagram, I think it was, and I was like, I'm feeling so sorry for myself. Like, I want cookies. So I was looking on Instagram and I was like, cookies, delivery. And I found Kahuna Cookies, which is a UK based brand. And that was the first time I heard of like postal cookies.
Right, yeah.
Um, and then they arrived when I had sepsis and I couldn't even enjoy them. But I loved the idea of it. It was fantastic. So that when I had kind of done my market research in cookies, I'd gone to London for 2 days. I say it was to try cookies, but it was to try get my ex back. I was trying different cookies and I was like, how am I, because I couldn't afford opening a storefront. And I was like, how am I supposed to with this limited space? And I was like, Kahuna Cookie, this is the product, this is the stall, and I was kind of put it all together. Like,
Unreal. And I'm guessing at the start it was, I don't know, you've got a bit of a team behind you, but at the start I'm guessing it was just you doing, making the cookies, packing them up, shipping them off, all that stuff, yeah?
yeah, really.
Would you have been a fan of baking and making cookies and stuff like that anyways, or was it something that you just developed?
No, I loved cooking. I loved baking. Always.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So it was a natural progression then into where you're at now with it, which is deadly. And look, I think one thing that stood out for me from watching your, let's say, journey over the last little while is seeing you, and I'm sure this has been tough and I want to chat a little bit about, has been going from someone who just loves cookies and bacon into now this is actually a business. Now I actually have to hire people. Now I'm actually the boss and I have to lead these people and all that. How has that journey in itself been for you?
It's definitely been a lot of learning because, like that, I find it really hard to put boundaries down. I mean, I've had plenty of instances in the past where I get too friendly with staff. And like, I remember one of the girls, like when I was in active addiction, like I was like, let's go for a drink. And I'm like, let's go get a bag. And I'm like, I'm her boss in hindsight. Like, this is not appropriate. But that all came with time, and it's been it's been great because every day is a school day. But alongside that, like, you really need to have a backbone. This is not for the faint-hearted. I'm consistently rolling with the punches. Um, but I don't take it for granted because at the end of the day, my dream was to own a cafe. I have to go through all these learning curves to get to where I want to be.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to look at it is, right, the goal I have for the future requires me to be at this level. So everything that's happening to me now is giving me the chance to learn, to grow, step up so I can become the person I need to be to do the shit I want to do, basically.
Exactly.
And people listening may know or may not know, but you've actually made some really big progress in making that dream come to reality with the cafe and actually having a place out in Dubai. Tell me a little bit about that. What was I can imagine it's a ball ache, but what was it like trying to get everything sorted and figure that out, and how close or far away are you guys from actually opening up?
Honestly, Adam, the past year has been insane. Insane. I came to Dubai at the start of this year, and I was here with my family and my ex-boyfriend. And me and the ex-boyfriend were like, we want to move away. Let's go do something like this. This could be us. And we said, fuck it, let's do it. So I started doing back and forth because I was like, okay, like I'm gonna talk to a few investors. Maybe I can get people, because I wouldn't be able to afford this by myself. Like I need an investor. Um, I'd be able to. I was doing chats with them. I was talking to banks. I was doing signing, looking at different units in Dubai, and then I come back to Dublin. And then I came here. I had signed a contract with a premises, and then the boyfriend broke up with me. And then I was like, huh? I have signed a lease to start like a business in Dubai that we were supposed to be going together. And I went to a tarot card reader lady, and she was like, basically told me everything I needed to hear. She's like, whatever you have on the pipeline, you need to go for it. So I was like, okay. I started doing back and forth, and we were set to open on the 2nd of November. And there have been delays, and it's like, man, I feel like I'm getting hooked over here. I'm getting fucked, and I'm getting watched. Do you know what I mean? Because Imar are the leasing agents, and for every day I don't open, I'm getting fined $2,000. But the reality is, it's in their course because they're not approving my drawings for electrical issues, for plumbing issues, for da 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 da. And it's not like a normal. It's not a democracy here. You know, I can't be like, hey, this is illegal. Don't give a shit. They just want money. So now there's been an issue with the plumbing where the entire building's waste is getting pumped into my unit. So now they were in the process of building it. They had to take everything out, and it's actually under pause right now. Now, I think it's a sign from God, because I can say to Imar, which are the people that are, hey, this is out of my control. This is the building's issue. I'm not going to say it's their issue, because then they'll be like, nah, fuck you. Like, this is the building's issue. Like, can we waive these fees, please? Along these lines. So I think it's a blessing, but things are on hold. Drawings are getting rejected. Everything needs to get approved here. It's not like I can get John to build my fucking freezer. Do you know what I mean? I have to get approval if I want to move a socket from here to here. It's literally bricks at the moment. So it took a designer. It took out a fit-out team, a different fit-out team for the front of house and for the back of house. So it's honestly been insane. And I'm doing it by myself, man, which has been, when they say don't do a big geographical and early recovery, Jesus Christ, listen, I have tried so many times, day in, day out. I feel like, man, I just want to get a job in HR. I want to wear foundation and mascara and a pencil skirt and just leave at 5 o'clock and everything is
clock
fine.
out. Good luck.
It's not like that for me. Every day I'm crying. I have no friends. I can't drink. I'm just like, and then I'm like, but at the end of the day, I'm living my dream, Saifa, so shut the fuck up. And that's how the gratitude comes in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could be poor me, I'm out here by myself. Shut up. I'm living my dream, so take it down a notch, But sometimes I get really sad because there is a lot going on. So that's where I'm at now. We're hoping to open in January now, but Lord only knows. But it's been really stressful.
Sounds like I had a feeling it would be. I didn't realize the extent to which it can be. So yeah, fingers crossed. I'll keep that in my prayers as well, that things do map out, because I can imagine, especially everything you in one sense gave up to get over there, is in like move over there, reinvest. I'm sure it cost a decent chunk. You're still running the business in Ireland and trying to keep that afloat. Like it's so much time and effort gone into it.
Thank you for seeing that.
I see it, and I hear it. I suppose in one sense, the fact that you've been able, like the Drunken Cookie still always popping up on my newsfeed, I'm still hearing all about it, I'm seeing it in the market. So the fact that the Irish operation at least still seems as strong as ever from the outside looking in, on top of what you're trying to do within Dubai, it shows you must have set up some real strong roots and foundations here before just jumping over and trying to like expand and grow. So I think whatever you've done over here seems to have worked quite well. And whenever the building can get opened over there, hopefully it's soon enough. I think replicating what you've done and building on that success, the future should be bright.
Yeah, I hope so. I pray to God, inshallah, yeah.
Beautiful. So I want to finish off just by looking quickly at goals for the future for yourself for the Drunken Cookie, and then some quick fire questions that we can wrap things up with. But if I just speak about goals, I know we spoke there about first goal being getting this place open and getting those peeps off your back. So once that's out of the way, do you have any more ambitions in terms of location, stuff you want to do with the Drunken Cookie, or just where you want to see it go to overall?
So yeah, I actually had a discussion with this about to my brother. I initially was like, I'd love one in the States, I'd love one in London, and like just have it more kind of sporadic. But with the investor that I currently have on board, he lives in Dubai, right? So I mean, if this goes well, he said he's open to invest more. So it might be a case of from Dubai, maybe I'll open in Abu Dhabi, maybe I'll open in
Okay, yeah.
Sharjah. Do you know what I mean? And kind of have it more booming over here like that. It's a lot cheaper over here in terms of running. So I am open. The initial thing was to be more global, but if money is tight or whatever it is and it's not possible, they're probably going to be looking at expanding within Dubai.
Within that level. Cool. That makes sense. All right. I want to do some quick fire questions, and then I'm going to tell everybody to go get some cookies and what to do and all that crack before we jump off. But first things first, I want to know, as a question, I'm sure as you sit down to try to think, right, we've got another mystery box to create. What am I going to put in this? What's the combination? What mad shit am I going to put into a cookie and bake for people to eat? I'm sure there's been some absolute bangers over the years, and there's probably been some like you thought were going to be unreal and just didn't work for whatever reason. Is there anyone that sticks out as being like, in my head, this sounded like a great idea for a cookie, but when I went to do it, it was an absolute failure?
See, we test all the cookies before we put them live. So I'm going to say
I mean,
no.
a failure is in, I thought it was going to taste amazing, or I thought it was going to work really well, and we've cooked it, and yeah, no, it's shit. We're not going to sell this.
The one thing I actually that kind of stood out there was when we do a Ferrero Rocher stuffed cookie, the Ferrero
Right?
Rocher gets soggy, and I think it's gross. And I haven't done it since.
They're a little bit, because cookies are great, Ferrero Rochers are great, but putting them together, probably not the best show.
Yeah.
These are the lessons you only learn when you go and actually do it. Do you do any like custom cookies? Could people send in requests and say, hey, could you make me this or anything like that?
For the kilo cookies, yes. So people can ask for a kilo cookie and then they can write their note like, fuck me, marry
Yeah,
me,
I
love
wanted to ask,
me,
what was the strangest or weirdest request you've got?
yellow shower.
Okay. I'm not going to ask, did it get, was it approved or not? Or how much? Okay, cool. I asked this a little bit earlier, so it might be the same thing, but I want to know, did you have any role models or inspirations that you looked up to growing up? You mentioned the Get Baked people helped a bit with the cookie side of things, and that was there anyone else?
Yeah, the chocolate smiths who are also in the UK.
Okay, sweet. So similar sort of industry, taking a lot of inspiration from them. Cool. And then last question that I'll ask you, Saifa, is when you are older, Saifa, let's say, looking back upon your life, everything you've done, what's created, what would you say will be the things you want to be remembered for, or look back on your life and say, yeah, that was the example of a life well lived?
That there's a way out. That like I had a really turbulent upbringing and resorted to addiction, and that there is a way out and it doesn't have to be like that.
I love it, because especially once you're on that path, it's very, very hard to get yourself, if you can imagine, on a more productive train. And it tends to just be a slippy slope that goes in one direction. So I think you're living proof of that now and continue to do so over the next few years. Fingers crossed. Love it. It looks safe, but thank you so much for your time. I'm going to tell the people what to do and where to get stuff. And then if you want to add anything in or promote anything, more than welcome to do so. Firstly, get your ass out to People's Park Market in Tullyri on a Sunday and pick up some cookies. I can attest to how great they are because I've had my fair share. So please do that. And the mystery boxes. So there's a mystery box gets released every month. Can people sign up for that at any time throughout month, safe, or does it have to be at the start? anytime. Perfect. So you can sign up. If you sign up now when this comes out, it will be November, so you could probably still get the November one, but the December one will then be released into Christmas, which will be a nice little addition. You probably don't need the calories, but look, life is short, so get the cookies into you. And also, this will be out before the toy show, so I know you guys are also doing a custom sort of cookie box for the toy show, which I think will be deadly for anyone, especially kids or young people or whatever else. Make it a bit of fun. Basically, you guys are going to send, is it like plain cookies with different toppings and stuff they can make their own?
So they can make their own.
Beautiful. So I think it's, kills two birds with the one stone, entertainment for the kids and cookies. It's a winner. So pick up some of those. Is there anything else you want to show out or say before we wrap up?
All good.
Perfect. Well then, Saifa, thank you so much for your time. You have a fan in the Molloy Twins for everything that you do. So wishing you all the best and every success for the future moving forward.
Thank you.